classes are the new synergy feature in Clash Mini, and it's gonna completely change how you make decks. In fact, some of them give you such an unfair advantage that you wouldn't believe it. But let's start this mini news with how they work. Basically, each class has a few minis and they're kind of similar. For example, the Goblin class. If you place 2 minis of the same class on the board, you get a unique small buff. For example, if you place a Dark Goblin and a Mosquito, they have a 30% chance to avoid the enemy's attacks. And that could be massive against slow damage dealers like the P.E.K.K.A. But if you go all in with the class and use 4 minis of the same class, so if you use Bowler, Sphere Goblin, Dark Goblin, and the Mosquito, now every unit will have a 30% chance to avoid attacks, not just goblins. Most minis are in one class, but there are some higher set minis that have 2 classes, giving them super important roles in deck making. Let me give you another example. This is the Undead class, including the Chompy of the new minis. And when you have 2 Undead minis on the board, the enemy hero will take 1 more damage for every hit, which could be a big deal to melee damage dealers like the Pink Furry and the Wave Master. When you have 4 Undead minis, if the enemy hero is dead, all enemy minis will take 1 more damage for every hit, which is massive versus heroes that tend to die pretty quickly. Then we have the Rider class, which includes Hog Rider and Dark Prince. If you have 2 Rider minis, it gives the Riders 2 extra damage for their abilities. So for example, the Prince will do 10 damage for his class ability instead of 8. For 4 Rider minis on the board, it gives a 30% attack speed buff for 6 seconds to all Riders after a Rider mini cast their abilities. So your 3 other minis will get attack buffs at the start after the Prince charges, for example. Next up, we have the C class. For 2 C class minis, you get 2 starting energy to everyone, even minis that aren't in the C class. And this can synergize very well with the EU's 3rd star, for example, to give even more energy. Now for 4 C minis, everyone gets 1 energy every 5 seconds, and you could super a lot more frequently with that, so I think you would see the synergy a lot. Then we have the Royal class, which includes the Royal Recruit. For 2 Royal minis, each mini in the Royal class takes 1 less damage for the first 10 seconds, and for 4 Royal minis, that just lasts forever instead of the first 10 seconds. This can give massive protection versus low damage units like the Dark Goblin and the Archer Queen. Then we have the Clan class, which funnily enough has nothing to do with clans. 2 Clan minis gives 6 more HP to all Clan minis at the start, and 4 Clan minis buffs it up to 10 HP at the start. But I think this just feels like a weaker version of the Royal class, but sometimes it is those extra HP that wins you in Tiebreaker or Frenzy, for example. Then we have the Specialist class, which includes 2 new minis, the Worker Bee and a Decoy. If you get 2 Specialists on the board, every 6 seconds, all negative effects on Specialists will be wiped. So the negative effects include slow, stuns, and Wizard Burn, for example. Just any effect that has a duration. And for 4 Specialists, every 4 seconds, the negative effects on all minis will be wiped. And this is a great counter to stuff like EWIS. Moving on to the Saint class. This includes all the healing minis. For 2 Saint minis, everyone gets plus 25% for any heal and shield amount. So now Battle Healer heals for 45% from 20%. And for 4 Saint minis, this is buffed to 40%. So now Battle Healer will heal for 65%, which could be massive since the minis in the same class can heal themselves naturally. Then we have the Elixir class. 2 Elixir minis. Wait. No, 2 Elixir class minis will give you 2 extra Elixir every round. So if you win with 2 Elixir class minis, you get 8 Elixir in the next round. And for 4 Elixir class minis, everyone gets plus 1 attack damage for every 6 Elixir saved up. So this could synergize with Pink Furry very well, since they both need Elixir saved up to use their full potential. And you can use the Elixirs that you got from the first buff as well. Then we have the Rogue class. 2 Rogue minis gives a 30% chance for a hit to deal 1 more damage. And for 4 Rogue minis, if a Rogue minis is the last one standing, it gets plus 2 damage. And that could be massive to the Magic Archer or the counters to just finish the enemy off. Then we have the Mage. 2 Mage minis gives you plus 30% damage to all mages, and for 4 Mage minis, it gives another 20% to mages when one of them casts their abilities. So for example, when the Ewiz is getting ready for his super, all other mages get plus 50% damage total, and this can also stack, which means if the Wizard and the Ewiz super at the same time, all mages get a whopping plus 70% damage. And last but certainly not least, we have the Ranger class. This includes the Dagger Thrower, another new mini. For 2 Ranger minis, all Rangers get plus 30% attack speed, and for 4 Ranger minis, they get 20% additional attack speed every 5 seconds on top of that. So that can stack to 110% bonus attack speed in total when Frenzy starts. And the build up damage with that is insane, especially with minis like the Dark Goblin or the Archer. You've probably heard me say like 7 new minis in this video. Well, here are the 7 new minis, their abilities and synergies, so you can discover their true strength.